Go for it.
Why isn't Alzheimer's getting the funding or the attention that other diseases are that aren't?
Cancer is still far more prevalent. And I think even though there are millions of people with dementia, it still isn't something that people would like to face and accept, even though it's the sixth leading cause of death. I wish I knew the answer. I was at a Alzheimer's Association walk to end Alzheimer's on Saturday. The people were down this year as opposed to last year. I think just getting the word out is a way to increase this. Yes.
Does it get hard to deal with them when they're like, they're close to dying?
That's one of my favorite times, in all honesty, because that's, especially with hospice, you connect more with the family, and you're there to really help during the entire transition with it. The hard part is when, and I've seen this too, you may have a family who had a prim and proper mom who suddenly becomes very sexual and very her foul language, and they don't know how to deal with her. That's the hard part, because they don't know how to react to her.
Is there a certain moment in your life or something that happened to you that made you decide that dementia was kind of like your focus of study or what you wanted to?
My grandmother died from complications of Alzheimer's, and hers wasn't diagnosed. It was back in the 80s. I was 16, and she came to visit us. And again, I'm from Vermont. My grandparents lived in Illinois, and my grandmother was just a wonderful country farm wife, very sweet, very tender. My family wasn't church going, but we just weren't. My grandmother again came to visit. I only saw her every couple of years, and she looked at me and she said, "Honey, you're going to go straight to hell if you don't start going to church." And it was devastating to me. I didn't know what it was, why my grandmother would say that to me, and it wasn't until years afterwards that I understood that was the dementia. I think that's why, I really care so much about it.
How hard is it usually to deal with families, like just the communication between you?
It varies. It takes a lot of just listening, not interjecting your own opinion, which can be hard. It really just depends. It just depends on it. With hospice, you have a whole team of people that you work with. You have social workers, you have chaplains, and so we really come together to work as a unit to help the family come to peace before their loved one dies. Individually, I've had some humdingers that you just leave and you shake your head and like, oh my God. But then you go back the next day. So, yeah.
Have you ever dealt with a patient that was hallucinating something? What were they seeing? Is there a way to tell what they're seeing or hearing?
They will tell you. They will tell you what it is. A lot of older veterans think they're back in the war. My grandmother, again, who grew up in Illinois, nowhere near the war, had hallucinations that the Nazis were after her. I've found that people kind of go to a happy place in their dementia, or they go to a terrifying place in their dementia. It's a terrifying places that really are hard to deal with. And how do you help the family through that, and how do you help the person be comfortable? Because certainly having those hallucinations is not comfortable. And there's good medications to help with the symptoms, but you don't want to schnocker the person so that they're, just laid out on the couch. Yeah. So it's a fine line. Very fine line. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you diagnose someone with dementia? Is there a certain level it has to get to, or
It has to be diagnosed by a physician, generally in your
Hi, it's Marvin Vegas with you.
Yes?
Let him know that he has an early release for 12/20 and should come to the office to sign out at that time.
All right, thank you.
There's a whole battery of tests that they do, and it's not something that should be taken lightly. And it's very, very difficult to get people to agree to go in for testing because they know what's going to happen once they have that diagnosis. It's going to be a steady decline. And again, a lot of people don't want to face it. I'm not sure if I would want to have a test saying in 20 years I'm going to have dementia. What would be the point in knowing? But in terms of the older population, it's hard for the families to get the person in for it, but they just have to be very careful with it to do it.
And I understand they're doing research to see the external conflicts and reasons why there's dementia, but have they found anything that we can prevent it, make it more preventative, or is it just going to come no matter what?
They don't know how to prevent it. They don't know what the environmental factors, they don't know what the gene sequences are within people that want to interact with the environment, what causes it to turn on. They haven't been able to pinpoint it at all. They're getting closer. That's why that Human Genome Project was absolutely phenomenal in terms of gene mapping and everything like that, but they just don't have any idea. And there's a lot of theories out there, like, you shouldn't use aluminum pots, and, they don't know. They don't know. Everything in moderation.
How many different patients a week do you work with that have dementia?
Probably about 10.
Do they all like communicate different ways?
And it ranges from early dementia straight through to being completely bedbound. And generally, do you guys know what contractures are for the person? They start to go inward in a fetal position. I've had numerous patients like that as well. I have them all over the spectrum.
Do you deal with more patients who like communicate with you more?
Right now, more who do. I'm fortunate with that. But somebody new will come on service, and it's a wide spectrum for me.
Okay, you said that some of the cases are reversible. How are like some of the ways you can reverse it?
Well, if it's alcohol related, they go in the hospital until they detox. If it's emotional, there's quite a bit of people with psychological issues where they may need to be hospitalized for a while. They may need to be put on some antidepressants, some sort of mood stabilizer. That can reverse it. Healthy eating, getting enough sleep, getting exercise, anything to keep your whole physical body and your mind healthy can help to keep that homeostasis and everything with it. Some illnesses can cause it, some infections can cause it. It's just treating whatever the underlying cause is. For people who have been alcoholics for quite a while, not necessarily quite a while, everybody's different, but alcoholics are at great risk for developing dementia as well. It just goes in and it starts to destroy the brain. Do you guys know what the brain looks like with Alzheimer's? It shrinks. And you know those spaces, see now my mind just went blank, the fulcrums.
Yeah.
Spaces.
Yeah, the fusions.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the drivers.
Those actually grow bigger and the brain mass gets smaller, so they just aren't able to make those connections at all. That is. I do remember Mr. Uri, yeah.
Anybody else?